Iran is losing its missile capabilities and it's running out of options. On the second day of this war, they launched 200 missiles. On the third day, a total of 100. Day 4, a total of 50. There were a few hypersonics. And today, so far, only 10, even though today it was promised to be the largest missile barrage they have launched yet, meaning that somehow their launchers have been destroyed or hacked. What the regime failed to properly calculate is that every time they launched one of their missiles, it was tracked by these satellite systems. So the satellite systems were able to track the trajectory of the missiles, but they were also able to find the missile launchers. And it looks like Iran has lost between 35 to 40% of their missile launchers to some kind of mishap. So it doesn't matter if Iran has 3,000 or 4,000 missiles if they can't be launched. Now, nobody denies that Iran's missiles were able to breach enemy territory and cause a good deal of damage in the former capital of that country. But the entirety of Iran's air defenses have been shot down as we see countless planes and drones flying over the capital of Tehran uninterrupted. And it was just discovered today that Iran's enemy secretly set up a drone factory to be used against the Iranian military. Now, there is a bold threat being made by a lot of Iranian media sources that if things get really bad, they are going to close the Strait of Hormuz, which would be devastating. You see this little body of water by the Persian Gulf between the UAE and Iran? That is the Strait of Hormuz, and about 25 to 30% of all oil and natural gas goes through here. So shutting down the Strait of Hormuz would lead to, I don't know, $100 a barrel of oil, maybe even higher. And of course, energy costs rising across the board, especially for the world's major oil importers like China. Americans would especially feel this at the pump, maybe pay an extra $2 or $3 per gallon. And we can't forget India, a major importer of Iranian oil, and they've been enjoying such cheap oil and they get to refine it and then sell it back to the EU. There are 3 tankers that are currently on fire in the Strait of Hormuz, but we don't know who the culprit is. Who knows? Maybe it was Iran's enemy's sabotage. And again, everyone knows about these 3 tankers, but the price of oil is still $70 a barrel, so no. The Strait of Hormuz is still open, as we know it. Now, I said in my post earlier today that Iran wanted to de-escalate tensions with their opponent, but their opponent had no interest in doing so and continued to bomb Tehran, so that was thrown out the window. What's even more sobering is that America's current president sent a tweet stating that everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. During that time, the USS Nimitz, an aircraft carrier, and its strike group started heading to the Middle East, so now there will be 2 carrier strike groups within a week by the Persian Gulf. And since yesterday, massive jet refueling tankers have been leaving the United States to deploy to Europe, most likely to deploy to the Middle East to refuel American fighter jets, not to attack Iran, but most likely to shoot down whatever they're shooting out. Now, the most recent news I have about any kind of peace deal between these 2 countries is the U.S. is sending a special envoy to the Middle East to establish a time where they can set up some potential ceasefire. I know a lot of people think that the United States is going to directly be involved in this war. I still think it's a very, very remote possibility. We are most likely just going to be shooting down whatever drones and missiles that fly out of Iran. I am the Geo Husar, and there is a country that will become the preeminent power in the Middle East, and it's not what you think. Thanks for watching.